We should be okay. You can hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. Michelle Ferry here, Member of Parliament for Peterborough, Kawartha. And I I just came from attending a CJA Antisemitism conference. And I'm going to be really transparent and open, and thank you, Heather, in this conversation. And so for those who don't know, just make sure I have this all correct. I think it's, just give me one sec here. I'm having a couple technical things, so just thanks, Sonia. That's nice of you. Um, okay. Just bringing up, make sure, okay. So CJA is the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs, and they had a conference at the Shaw Center in Ottawa, and it was an anti-Semitism conference. Now, some of you are very well versed in foreign affairs and different things, and some of you are not. And so I try to have these conversations because I've had lots of people message me who are deeply impacted by what is happening in the world, and others who are like, I don't even know what happens over there. Well, over there is now in here, it's now in our backyard because the world is smaller. And so anti-Semitism is a hate for Jewish people. In fact, if you, I'll give you I'll give you a direct. Anti-Semitism um, is hostility to prejudice towards or discrimination against Jews. The sentiment is a form of racism, and a person who harbors it is called an anti-Semite. So what we've seen slowly over the last little bit is a massive rise in anti-Semitism. And history lesson, obviously, if you have never followed, I know this sounds like redundant for a lot of people, but there's a lot of kids who watch and don't know some of these things. The Holocaust was the largest attempt at exterminating the Jewish people. One of my very, very dear friends is Jewish, and we worked together. And she works with CJA, and she was there tonight, and she taught me a lot about Judaism. And I got to meet her grandparents who survived the Holocaust, and my daughter actually got to do an interview with them for a project she did for high school about the Holocaust and lessons we can learn. And both of my friends' grandparents have since passed away, and their messaging when we interviewed them was so powerful. You know, have we not learned anything, right? That hate doesn't fix anything. Why hate? And so today in my office, I had some representatives from CJA, young people from CJA, older people, people of all ages from CJA in my office. And they asked me to use my voice to stand up for my Jewish friends, Jewish community, and to speak what I believe about the Jewish people and to help people understand a lot of what's happening. And they said, Michelle, your voice is very important because you have the privilege of the podium. And I thought that was a really interesting way to put it. And so when we have the privilege of the podium, we have to use our voice to help people who may otherwise not have that voice. And so tonight I went to the CJA conference, and it was designed around anti-Semitism. And the Prime Minister addressed the crowd, and Pierre Poilievre addressed the crowd, and the leader of the Bloc Québécois, and I believe Jagmeet Singh did as well. I wasn't there for Jagmeet's address. And it was very powerful, and you know, there was a united sense that you cannot link. So for those of you who've not been following, there was the largest attack on Israel since the Holocaust on October 7th. And Hamas, which is a terrorist organization, sought out innocent civilians, children, young people, elders, took them hostages, used them as shields, and it's been a horrific massacre of Israeli people, but also innocent Palestinian people. And I think what's important here is that I'm here to speak on behalf of my Jewish friends, but what they said to me today in the office and what Pierre has said repeatedly is we defend all people who humanity. This is about humanity. And there's a very big difference between a terrorist organization whose mission, and all you have to do is look it up, whose mission is to exterminate someone. So that is what Hamas is. Its mission is to exterminate Jewish people. So we cannot put Hamas with any group of people. There's no difference between this and ISIS. These are terrorist people. And when I left the CEJA conference, I came out and they said, "You can't leave. It's not safe to leave." I was, pardon? And I came out and I came out another side door and there was protesters coming down the street, a lot of protesters. Now I shared the video on my Facebook for anybody who wants to watch it. And it was really unnerving because you're at an anti-Semitism conference. You're there to talk about combating anti-Semitism. So if somebody's protesting an anti-Semitism conference, what are they? Jewish people have been targeted since the beginning of time, and it's awful and it's wrong. And I think what's really important, and I like this because I connected with my local synagogue, and I like this messaging that was given to me. And it says, first of all, like, I do extend my sincerest condolences to anybody, and anybody who has family or friends that are impacted by this. And I want to actually say this. I'll read this letter, but I do want to say this to you because when the folks came in today from CEJA and sat with me, and we started talking about Peterborough and any connections in Peterborough, and we got going. And the one lady, Mala, said to me, she said, "So Michelle, how you feel that 1 degree of separation is how we feel about our family in Israel." Like, Israel is a small country. Like, for us to understand how small it is, as Canadians, it's challenging. And so the example I give to you, it's like, so say, like, for me, I grew up in like my community of Douro, or I moved to Otonabee. It would be like those communities being attacked and innocent people being targeted and murdered. And that's the impact. I mean, those are my people, right? So they said, they sent. I like this wording because it's very powerful, and I think it helps address a lot. I stand with the peaceful and equitable resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but do not in any way feel that this attack has anything to do with the intractable conflict. That to conflate these two crises belittles the efforts of many who have worked for peace between the Palestinians and is a cynical distortion of actual reality on the ground. My office will work with fellow MPs to support wholeheartedly the initiatives by the federal government in the important work to combat anti-Semitism in this country. And I think that's the message, right? So anybody, and the core belief of a conservative for me is that anybody should be free and safe to practice the religion and faith that they have. And so to lump a terrorist with a certain group is not fair. We are fighting for humanity. We are fighting for peace, and that innocent civilian life not be lost. So I wanted to do this video because I was asked to do this video and to show my solidarity. But I want to tell you, the one young boy that was sitting in my office, he brought tears to my eyes. He reminded me all I saw when I looked at him was my own son. And the minute you have that kind of personal connection, it gets very personal and emotional. And he was so sad. He was so sad because his friends and his friend's family was in Israel, and some of them have been murdered. And he's 17 years old. And, it is a hard, these are hard conversations, but it is very important to put a line in the sand when it comes to terrorism. And as a leader and as a country, we have to do that. And I just, I think a lot of folks may not get involved or take a side because they're like, I don't know. But I think you have to recognize that there is a very historical hate for Jewish people, and it is wrong. Humans of all life deserve safety, except those who terrorize it, right? Thank you for joining me. I know this was a little bit of a different video, but I just wanted to jump on and yes, you're 100% right, Brenda. Hamas are terrorists. That is it. That is the end of the story there. So, thank you very much, and we will chat with you later. Be sure to connect with anyone in your community who is Jewish or has Jewish connections. Check on them, ask them how they're doing. This is a very trying time, a very exhausting time. And Palestinians, check on your friends who are impacted by this, stand united and come together to stand against hatred. That is what we need to do. Talk to you soon.